Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to talk about how a clutch works, and in order to demonstrate that, we brought all the mechanical parts that are involved in that mechanism. So we have a flywheel, we have clutch disc, clutch plate, throwout bearing. In this example it's mounted to a master slave cylinder and a manual transmission. So a little bit in detail, the flywheel is built a little bit heavy and with a bigger radius to provide the engine with inertial, so it doesn't stall that easy. So the clutch disc is basically a metal disc on it, mounted a high friction material, and inner part between them there is torsion springs, and basically those torsion springs help reducing the vibration every time the clutch engage and help reducing the torsion applied instantly on the shaft. So the pressure plate is made out of a diaphragm spring mounted on the housing of the pressure plate, and we have a disc that's hollow in the middle, and that diaphragm spring always apply pressure on this part, and that's where comes the pressure from when it's applied later on the clutch disc. So let's do the assembly to understand more. Let's imagine that our engine is to the left and it's mounted that way. It's mounted that way directly to the crankshaft through these 6 bolts, and then on it you have the clutch plate, and then we got the pressure plate that comes last. So the flywheel is mounted directly on the crankshaft, and the pressure plate, this part, is mounted on the flywheel, and then we can understand that the flywheel and the pressure plate are turning together with the crankshaft and then with the engine. Clutch disc is the part that's not directly linked to the engine, and that, let me remove that. And actually the clutch disc is mounted on the primary shaft of the transmission. Well, generally it's not mounted like that. It's sandwiched between the flywheel and the pressure plate. The diaphragm spring on the pressure plate are always applying a force on the disc, clutch disc, and with the friction it can transfer the rotation from the engine to the disc, and then to the transmission, and then to your wheels. System engage and disengage based on the way the diaphragm spring is being under pressure or not. The diaphragm spring on the pressure plate are always applying a force on the disc, clutch disc, and with the friction it can transfer the rotation from the engine to the disc. System engage and disengage based on the way the diaphragm spring is being under pressure or not. So to release the pressure on top of the clutch disc is only possible when a force applied on these springs. And if you apply force on these springs, they will gonna, each middle part of them is gonna tend to go up. You're gonna tend to go up, and then you want to have that pressure applied on your clutch disc. And here comes the turn of the throwout bearing. This is the part that comes directly in contact with the diaphragm spring, like that. This is a hydraulic system, and usually it's mounted on the transmission like that. whenever you push the clutch, there is a hydraulic line that apply the pressure on here, and that's gonna help pushing on the diaphragm spring that disengage the disc. So the whole assembly starts by the transmission and slave master cylinder. Goes like that, bolt to the transmission, which is there, and then throw a bearing on it with a spring, and then the pressure plate, the clutch disc, and the flywheel will be like this. They are. We got first pressure plate, and then we got the disc, and then we got the flywheel. And I got my dog, who's really nosy, is really interested. Hope the video was helpful.